In today's video, I'm going to show you 10 ways that we stay cool when we're camping during the summer. We are tent campers and we've still been camping this summer and it's been really hot. We are about the end of July right now and we've hit 90 degrees 30 days in a row, which in our area in the southeast, this is about to become a record, so they say. So we are tent campers and sometimes we have power and sometimes we don't, but we don't have air conditioning or anything like that. But let's talk about sleeping because that can be the hardest part about camping when it's 90 degrees during the day. It will cool off a little bit at night. So number one on my list is this Thermalite fabric reactor. And this is something that we've been sleeping with this summer. It basically is a insert for your sleeping bag, but we've just been using it as a sleeping bag. So it basically is a small little sleeping bag, packs up really small, but you can fit inside of this. And as you can see, it's pretty thin. You can see through it, but it's enough just to give you some comfort when you're sleeping, but not enough where you're just gonna be sweating in a big sleeping bag. This is from Thermalite, is the brand, and it's made by Sea to Summit. These are all things that I've purchased and that we use. This is actually my wife's. She uses it inside her sleeping bag in the winter to add a little bit more warmth, but in the summer, she uses this one to sleep, and you're not so hot at night. We actually have a few of them, and then we all use these when we are sleeping. So if you're just looking for something small, packs up nice and neat, can be used as like a blanket. It's basically like one of those onesies they had back in the day, and you can kind of get inside of it. But it does keep comfortable at night, and you know, if you like to have a blanket or something, and it packs up nice and small. So that's number one to help keep you cool at night. Number two on my list is at night it can get hot inside of a tent and you need a little fan. And like I said, we don't camp with power a lot. Sometimes we do, but when we don't, we have these little USB fans, and this one has a battery on the inside and it blows just a cool little breeze on you, especially when you're sleeping. And this one is really, really quiet. This one, I'm not sure the exact size on this one, but I also have a smaller one. And the benefit of this smaller one that I have is that the cord is built into it. And so you just plug it in to a power bank of some sort. And I have this Anchor one. And I like this because it's huge and it has 4 plugins, and we'll plug in, well, our phones, but we'll use this to plug in the fan just like that. And then your fan will work when you want a smaller one. So you put some of these just kind of near your head when you're sleeping, and you're going to be very comfortable. They've been very useful for us. I really like this larger one. It'll last us a whole weekend when we're using it at night and during the day to charge your phones. This is just an Anchor camping power brick that we use. But I know I've mentioned this in a few videos because this is something that we genuinely use all the time. And you can use them at your computer desk. You can use them, I mean, when you're driving down the road, you could put a little fan, or just at a table outside during the day. So these are really useful. So if you just want a little camping fan, something like this, there's hundreds of them on Amazon. I'll just link to these ones, but then you can find one that's cheaper or works like you want. But these ones have worked well for me. And it's starting to get really hot out here, and I have a fan up here. I'm gonna turn that on real quick, speaking of fans. All right, so I turned on these little outdoor fans I have. If you want an outdoor fan, I've had these things for like 3 years. They're just kind of cool, bottom of like Lowe's or whatever. But they like hook to these posts up here and they stay there. Anyways, so number 3 on my list is basically what we've been sleeping on all summer, is the giant tensile Trillium hammock, and it's made of a mesh fabric, but the best sleeping you're gonna get is to be on that. And we're in an area where there's not a lot of bugs because we're near the mountains, so we just sleep outside on that. But if you want something that I think can be useful for a hammock, if you're looking for a hammock in the hot summer, these tensile hammocks are great because they're made of this mesh fabric, and when you lay on them, they're not gonna collect all the sweat and just stick to your back. As you see, they have little holes and you can sit in them and you get a little breeze on both sides of you. So if you're in a humid area, these things are the best hammocks that we use in the summer. And I know I really like the tensile hammocks, but these fabric mesh things that they have are ones that are great. We have a friend that has a hammock, actually also by Tensile, but it's like that really hard fabric. It's really durable. This has been durable too, but when you lay on that in the summer, it's just too hot. And so a mesh hammock is great if you're someone who sleeps in a hammock. I think the best way to fix your sleeping is just to sleep in the giant hammock, like I said, because that thing is super comfortable and we sleep on that all the time in the summer. But that's not really for everybody, I understand that. So this is the hammock that I think is the best summer hammock. And like I said, all this is stuff that I've used for a couple of years. So this is still in really good shape. I use it all the time. If you don't know much about tent style, look them up, they're pretty cool. Number 4 is just something that I actually don't have, but I have a friend that has one. It's one of those little neck fans. So we're kind of going back to the fan thing. Just kind of throw that in there. They're kind of cool. I haven't really used one, so I can't give a full exact how useful it is, but I know he has one and he likes the one that he uses. But if you have one of those little things, you put it on your neck. I see people working with them this summer. My wife wanted me to throw that in there because she says they can be useful. We don't have one, so maybe she just wants me to get her one so we can test it out. However, from what people have told me, can help a lot. But like I said, I use these little fans. But if you're moving around, maybe those can be very helpful. And number 5 is something that we only do in the summer, is we bring 2 coolers. So we always have our cooler with our food, and then we throw some drinks in it. But when it's this hot in the summer, we've started adding extra coolers. So you have 1 cooler for your food and 1 cooler for your drinks, because every time you're going to open it, and you're going to open it a lot more in the summer, you're going to be letting out some of that cooler air. And I know it's something that everybody probably knows, but when you just think about it, you're like, oh, it probably is useful to have 2. You can buy a really cheap cooler. We have like our nice Yeti cooler for all of our food, and then we have like a $10 Coleman cooler that we just put the drinks in. You throw some ice in there. Then if it melts, it doesn't really matter, but the water bottles and everything stays cool enough. 2 coolers in the summer I think is pretty much a must to help save your food from going bad. So 1 for drinks, 1 for food. A little bit more work, a little bit more room in the car, but it's very useful to keep your food cold. It is getting hot out here. All right, so number 7 on my list, I think I'm on 7, is we're gonna start talking a little bit about food. Like I said, water is very useful. We bring water bottles, Gatorade bottles. We do have a giant container of water, has a little spigot on it that we bring. Might be a rock in there, something in there. And this is just for a little bit more water, because some of our spots we hike a little bit to. In the summer, we're not hiking too far, but this is a little water spigot on the end, and we just have more water, and then the kids can just drink all that as much as they want. I know water bottle creates a lot of plastic, but when it's so hot like this, it's just useful to have. So number 8 is the food. My wife is a dietitian, so she knows a lot more about food than I do, and she said, make sure you talk about foods that are water rich. So we always try to bring a lot of fruits. So she said strawberries, watermelon, yogurt, oranges, and those are all things that can help hydrate you through food. So you should drink a lot of water, but what you eat can help too. So a lot of these fruits, like you said, strawberries, oranges are pretty easy. Oranges you don't have to keep cold, so that's really beneficial. You can just have a bag of like mini oranges and you can eat those all day long. Strawberries you probably have to keep a little cold. So if you can have some of the fruits that don't have to be in the fridge, that can be useful. So making sure you have food that you can eat that will hydrate you is very good. I also saw somewhere like soups. You know, when it's hot outside, you could probably eat a canned soup cold. Different things like that. Think about the food that you're eating. You know, soda drinks probably are not the best thing to be having when it's 100 degrees. Number 9 on my list is clothing, and I'm basically gonna show a shirt that I purchased this summer, and this thing has been really helpful. This is a Fair Harbor sun protection shirt. It has a UPF of 50, so it helps you with the sunburn. We've been spending a lot of our camping at lakes this summer because when it's so hot, it's nice to be camping at a lake. This is made of polyester and spandex, but these shirts, long sleeve shirts, I didn't even feel overly warm when I wore this long sleeve shirt the whole time we were at the lake last weekend. And it saved me from putting on sunscreen, and I didn't get burned. So these long sleeve shirts, I think you have to kind of probably get the swim ones. They are very helpful. But something like this actually did help me on that trip. So number 10 on my list is go camping where you can stay cool. You don't want to set up in the sun. You want to have shade. Having a lake is really nice. Going places that will help you during the day from just getting too hot is very nice. And actually, the best advice is probably to stay home if you have to and you can't be outside in the heat like that. Or go glamping. We did our first glamping and it had air conditioning this summer one weekend. And that was a lot of fun. It even had a hot tub and we used the hot tub, and at night that wasn't even too bad. But during the day it was so hot that going camping with air conditioning and a real bed was just such a different experience than what we're used to, that I could see when it's 95 degrees like it is right now outside and I'm sweating sitting here not doing anything, going back to a glamping place would be a lot of fun. However, it's way more expensive. So you can go to our state park and it's $35 to $40 a night, which is more than it used to be, but you can camp right on the lake and you have water all day long. However, it's harder to get spots on the lake because you have to book them a year in advance, and so you might not know how hot it's going to be, and so you might not have as many choices. But going glamping or trying new areas that have air conditioning honestly is the safest thing you can do. Or just stay home, or make sure you have a spot that you're not out in the sun. If you're just going to camp out in the sun, honestly you should probably just stay home and be safe, because you don't want to make what can be a fun weekend into something that can be awful. And we're supposed to go camping this weekend in the mountains, and it's 95 today and it's supposed to be like 100 and something for the heat index, but next weekend's supposed to be 77 degrees in the mountains. So this is going to be awesome on our trip coming up. So, you know, we'll probably come back out of the mountains and it won't be so cool. But go camping in the mountains, go camping by a lake, go glamping. That's my number 10. Just go somewhere where it's not so hot. I know not everybody can do that. Or stay home and be safe. So thank you for watching this video. It is hot out here and I'm going to go inside and start packing for the weekend. So we will see you next time. I got a new camera and I'm not used to the screen over here, so I got to get used to not looking at the screen. So it's a new thing for me.